Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, I will be explaining about the 3rd and 4th Anglo Mysore War. Also, I'll be explaining about the Subsidiary Alliance and Doctrine of Lapse. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time, or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends. And also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into the video. So as I have told, in today's video, first we will see the continuation of the last video. Last video we saw the Second Anglo-Mysore War. Here we will see about the Third Anglo-Mysore War. Third Anglo-Mysore War, 1790 to 1792. So in the last video, we have seen that Hyder Ali passed away fighting in the Second Anglo-Mysore War and Tipu Sultan had taken over. Now Tipu Sultan and British, they were suspicious of each other. So after the Second Anglo-Mysore War, both Tipu Sultan and British were suspicious of each other. They were suspicious of each other. Now Tipu was trying to get the help of French. Okay, Tipu Sultan was trying to get the help of French to expel British out of India against the British. And the war broke out. The war means the Third Anglo-Mysore War broke out when Tipu attacked Travancore. Okay, Tipu attacked Travancore, and Travancore was in alliance. Travancore was in alliance with the British. Okay, so Travancore was in alliance with the British, and when Tipu attacked Travancore, naturally British declared the war. British declared war against Tipu. So like that, the Third Anglo-Mysore War broke out, and Lord Cornwallis, who was the British Governor General, Lord Cornwallis, the British Governor General, he isolated Tipu by winning over Marathas and Hyderabad Nizam to his side. Lord Cornwallis, he got Marathas and Hyderabad Nizam to his side. So these three together went against Tipu. And Tipu was finally defeated. Tipu was finally defeated, and the war came to an end with the Treaty of Srirangapattanam. Treaty of Srirangapattanam. So this is how the Third Anglo-Mysore War came to an end. So Tipu Sultan and British were suspicious of each other after the Second Anglo-Mysore War. Tipu Sultan was trying to get the help of French to fight against the British, and the war broke out when Tipu attacked Travancore. Travancore was in alliance with the British, and British declared war. Lord Cornwallis, he isolated Tipu by winning over Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam, and Tipu was defeated, and war came to an end with the Treaty of Srirangapattanam. Now, according to this treaty, according to the Treaty of Srirangapattanam, according to this treaty, what all did Tipu have to do? Tipu had to cede half of his territories. Half of his territories to the British. Okay, Tipu had to cede half of his territories to the Allies, and also he had to pay an amount of 330 lakh, okay, as war indemnity. He had to pay indemnity, 330 lakhs as war indemnity, and also Tipu had to keep his 2 sons on hostage. Okay, 2 sons on hostage till he paid this war indemnity. So that was the agreement of the Treaty of Srirangapattanam. Now next we will go to the last Anglo-Mysore War, that is 4th Anglo-Mysore War. Okay, the 4th Anglo-Mysore War, 1798 to 99. So here the British was still suspicious of Tipu, and what happened was Lord Wellesley, he forced Tipu to sign the Subsidiary Alliance, to sign the Subsidiary Alliance. Okay, so about Subsidiary Alliance we are going to learn in this video only. So Lord Wellesley, he forced Tipu to sign the Subsidiary Alliance, but Tipu Sultan refused. Tipu Sultan refused, and he again tried to get the help of France, again Afghanistan, Arabia, and Turkey. He tried to get the help of all these people to fight against British. But British, as we already know, they had on their side British along with Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam. They all of them together attacked Mysore. Okay, they attacked Mysore. Okay, so Tipu refused to sign the Subsidiary Alliance, and he tried to get the help from France, Afghanistan, Arabia, and Turkey. British, along with the Marathas and Hyderabad Nizam, attacked Mysore, and Tipu continuously fought, and he was the greatest enemy of British, and Tipu was called as the Tiger of Mysore. He fought so bravely, he was called the Tiger of Mysore, but finally Tipu died. Okay, in the fight, Tipu died in Srirangapatna. So in the fourth Anglo Mysore War, we can see that Tipu died fighting against the British. So after Tipu Sultan's death, the territories, all his territories were divided. It was divided between the British, Marathas, and the Nizam. So all the territories were divided between the British, Marathas, and Hyderabad Nizam, and a small portion of the kingdom was given to the Wodeyars of Mysore. So this is how after his death the territories were divided, and one portion was given to the Wodeyars of Mysore, and Krishnaraja Wodeyar III, he became the king of Mysore. So this is how the four Anglo-Mysore wars happened. Okay, so now let us just go through the points which we have studied till now. Third Anglo-Mysore War. Tipu Sultan and British were suspicious of each other. Tipu was trying to get the help of the French to expel the British from India. The war broke out when Tipu's unprovoked attack on Travancore in 1789. Travancore was in alliance with the company, and the British declared war on Tipu. Lord Cornwallis, the British Governor General, isolated Tipu by winning over the Marathas and the Nizam to his side. Tipu was defeated, and the war came to an end with the Treaty of Srirangapatnam in 1792. According to the treaty, Tipu had to cede half of his territories to the Allies and pay 330 lakhs of rupees as war indemnity. He had to keep 2 of his sons as hostages with the British. Still, till he paid the war indemnity. Fourth Anglo-Mysore War. The British were suspicious of Tipu, and Lord Wellesley forced him to sign the Subsidiary Alliance. Tipu refused and tried to get the help from France, Afghanistan, Arabia, and Turkey. The British, along with the Marathas and the Hyderabad Nizam, attacked Mysore. Tipu fought undauntedly. He was the greatest enemy of the British and was very courageous. He was called the Tiger of Mysore. Tipu died fighting against the enemies in Srirangapatna in 1799. After the death of Tipu, his territories were divided between the British, the Marathas, and the Nizam. A portion of his kingdom was given to the Wodeyars of Mysore. Krishnaraja Wodeyar III became the king of Mysore. So now let us go to the next topic, that is Subsidiary Alliance. Topic is Subsidiary Alliance. So So we have already learned in the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War that Tipu was forced by the British to sign Subsidiary Alliance. So what is Subsidiary Alliance? It was brought into force by Lord Wellesley. Okay, in 1798, Lord Wellesley brought Subsidiary Alliance. So what was the main aim of Subsidiary Alliance? Its aim was the expansion of British Empire in India. Expansion of British Empire in India. This was the main aim of Subsidiary Alliance. So according to this, what is Subsidiary Alliance? According to this, the allying king, that is a king who signed the Subsidiary Alliance, had to keep a British army in his state. British army in his state. So any king who signed Subsidiary Alliance had to keep a British army in his state, and also the same king has to bear the expenses of the army. All the expenses of the army had to be taken by this allying king. And any ruler, if he is unable to do this, unable to pay the expenses, then he had to cede a part of his kingdom, to the British. Okay, so British, what they did was they made the kings sign Subsidiary Alliance. It was introduced by Lord Wellesley. Its aim was to expand the British Empire in India. According to this, the allying king had to keep a British army in his state and bear all the expenses of the army. Any ruler who is unable to do so had to cede a part of his territory to the British. And also this ruler had to keep a British resident in his court. A British resident, in his court. That also had to be done by the allying king. And the king also should not have no trade relation with any other European countries. They should not have any trade relation with any other European countries. This was the agreement made in the Subsidiary Alliance. And one more thing they said in Subsidiary Alliance, that is, they said that the king of such states, that is the king of such allying states, were not allowed to appoint no appointment of foreigners in their administration or army without permission of British, without British permission. So they should not appoint any foreigner in administration or army without the prior permission from the British. And the company will take the charge, or company will be responsible for the protection of the state. The company will take the responsibility of protection of the state. Now the first king to sign this was the Hyderabad Nizam. Okay, Hyderabad Nizam signed it first. Then later rulers of Mysore, rulers of Oudh, Jaipur, etc., all of them signed the Subsidiary Alliance, and it was very visible that it was the policy of the British for expanding their empire in India. Now one more thing which was introduced by the British was called as the Doctrine of Lapse. Doctrine of Lapse. The Doctrine of Lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Okay, Lord Dalhousie introduced Doctrine of Lapse in the year 1848. Now this also was to achieve the aim of extend direct British rule in India. Direct British rule in India. Doctrine of Lapse was also introduced to extend direct British rule in India. Now according to this policy, if the ruler of any protected state, dies without a natural heir, ayah, that is own son, then the state would pass on to the British. Then the state will be passed on to the British. So here, if the ruler of any protected state dies without a natural ayah, then that state will pass on to the British. So this is how British did their method of extending the direct British rule in India. So the British in this way annexed different places like Satara, then Jaipur, Nagpur, etc. They annexed by following the policy of Doctrine of Lapse. So this was the British method of extending their empire in India. So now let us just go through the points which we have studied till now. That is Subsidiary Alliance. The Subsidiary Alliance was brought into force by Lord Wellesley in 1798. Its main aim was the expansion of British Empire in India. According to this, the allying king had to keep a British army in his state. He had to bear the expenses of that army. Any ruler who was unable to pay the expenses had to cede a part of his kingdom to the British. He also had to keep a British resident in his court. The king also should not have trade relations with other European countries. The king of such states were not allowed to appoint foreigners in their administration and army without the prior permission of the British. The company was responsible for the protection of that state. The Nizam of Hyderabad was the first to sign the Treaty of Subsidiary Alliance. Later, the rulers of Mysore, Oudh, Travancore, Jaipur, Jodhpur, etc. also signed the treaty. Now, the Doctrine of Lapse. Lord Dalhousie came to India as a Governor General in 1848. He introduced this policy to achieve the aim of extending direct British rule over India. According to this policy, when the ruler of the protected state died without a natural ayah, then that state would pass on to the British Empire. The British annexed Satara, Jaipur, Udaipur, Jhansi, Nagpur, etc. by following this policy. So, these are the points regarding Subsidiary Alliance and Doctrine of Lapse. So, I hope you have understood all the points very clearly. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comment section. And also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.